This is Matador News, and these are today's headlines. Puerto Rico is still without power, again, and this time a hurricane was not the cause. A Texas firefighter is one of the heroes of the Southwest airplane incident.
Hello and welcome to Matador News. I'm Sandy Chavez.
And I'm Leslie Estrada. The fight to legalize street food vendors is not over yet. Los Angeles City Council has approved the legalization of street food within city limits. The vote passed 11-4, but business owners still worry that this legalization would cause them to lose income. The new plan is to work out a compromise between business owners and street food vendors about where and when they can operate together. City Council member Jose Huizar has 60 days to come up with a plan.
A hit and run early this morning kills a homeless man in Venice. Los Angeles police say they received a call at 1:30 of a vehicle versus pedestrian near the intersection of Wavecrest Avenue and Oceanfront Walk. The man in his 30s was pronounced dead at the scene. Eyewitnesses say a passenger and the driver got out of the SUV and changed places before they drove. Police are still looking for the car, which they may have damage to the back because it hit a wall before speeding away.
Miguel Diaz-Canel has been named the new leader of Cuba. It is the first time in 6 decades that Cuba is being led by a man not named Castro. Diaz-Canel was born a year after Fidel Castro, who was the former Cuban leader until Raul Castro took power. Raul Castro is still expecting to play a role of a leadership. He will remain first secretary of the Communist Party of Cuba and a member of the National Assembly.
The Israelis are concerned that last week's U.S.-led airstrike in Syria will lead Russia to supply Syria with state-of-the-art defenses and Iran to continue to build up its forces in Syria. Bloomberg News is reporting that these concerns come after Russian officials say they'll reconsider delivery of defense missiles systems to Syria. If that were to happen, Israel says its military will attempt to take out the missile system out.
Puerto Rico is still without power after an excavator got too close to a high-voltage line yesterday. This was the first island-wide outrage since last September's hurricanes Maria left nearly 1.5 million residents without power. It took months for the power grid to get working again, and as early as this week, 3% of Puerto Ricans were still without power. Now, this recent blackout shows how fragile Puerto Rico's power grid is even after its recent $2 billion in repairs. Officials say this power failure could take up to 36 hours to restore.
Funeral plans for former First Lady Barbara Bush are developing in Texas. Bush passed away on Tuesday at age 92. She was the wife of President George H.W. Bush and the mother of President George W. Bush, and one-time presidential candidate Jeb Bush. Current First Lady Melania Trump, along with other ex-presidents and wives, will attend the funeral at St. Martin's Church in Houston, Texas. The White House Wing Communications Office did not say whether President Trump would join his wife in attending.
Following the emergency landing of that Southwest flight on Tuesday, passengers are starting to talk about what happened. One of the passengers, Andrew Needham, a firefighter from Celia, Texas, says he tried to help passengers Jennifer Riordan as she was getting sucked out of a window broken by shattered engine debris. Although many passengers were trying to help her by stuffing clothes into the hole, they weren't successful. Needham says he heard the commotion and ran to pull the woman away from the window and back into the plane.
I felt the calling to get up and do something, stand up and act. I'm no different than any other firefighter in this country.
Riordan was very badly injured and died later after being taken to a hospital. The National Transportation Safety Board is starting to investigate engine failures.
Now let's go to Matador News reporter Jesus Partida, who has the public opinion on airline safety.
Thank you, Sandy. Statistically speaking, flying is the safer way of traveling. The Southwest incident was the first fatal one since 2009. CSUN students shared their thoughts on flying before and after the incident.
Yeah, I've always felt pretty safe flying, just looking at statistics. And after this incident, I mean, I'm pretty sure it's still safer than like driving my van around campus.
I haven't always felt safe just because I felt like the kind of the safety procedures they have, if the plane was going to go down or whatever it was, it just didn't really seem like it was going to do anything.
I always felt pretty safe flying. I wouldn't say the most, I'd rather be on the ground, but I still felt pretty safe. After the incident, I'd still go on an airplane, I'm not gonna lie.
The same students gave their opinion on what should be done to prevent incidents like this.
I'm not sure. Airlines should definitely like prevent people from getting sucked into the cabin. Like, death sucks, you know? So like, don't do that. But I'm not sure what technical solution they should impose.
People who are trained better. I know there's a lot of incidents in the last few years with airlines and people that are working on the airplanes. So I think that training, I think, is the first step. And maybe later on we'll discuss about like safety procedures and things that are better able to serve people that are getting on the airplane. So, yeah.
Maybe just add more sensors, see if there's any way that they can prevent something like this from happening, or if there's any way that they could see it like happening before it were to happen.
Airlines say they are examining their safety procedures in light of what happened. Now let's go back to the studio with Leslie for more news.
Thank you, Jesus. Dick's Sporting Goods announced that they have been demolishing guns and inventory since their gun sales policy changed after the Parkland, Florida school shooting in February. The company had announced they would no longer sell guns to customers younger than 21 and would stop the sale of assault rifles. Dick's is now actively involved in the nation's debate on gun control and wants customers to know what side they're on.
The two men arrested in the viral Starbucks video say the arrest happened within minutes. Rashawn Nelson and Dante Robinson appeared on ABC's Good Morning America today describing their arrest. They say they want to use their experience to inspire young men.
To not be traumatized by this and instead motivated, inspired.
Help people understand that it's not just a black people thing, this is a people thing.
Philadelphia Police Commissioner publicly apologized this morning to the two men involved. Starbucks has also apologized and is promising racial bias training for 175,000 workers.
Now let's go to Nicole Martinez with the latest in business.
Thank you, Leslie. Lyft ride-sharing service has announced it will be giving its customers up to $4.20 discounts in honor of 420. This discount will only apply to cities where marijuana is legal. Lyft will also be partnering up with the producers of the new film Super Troopers 2, which is coming out on 420. By using the code Lyft Troopers, users can see how the car icons turn into Super Trooper characters. Giant retailer Bed Bath & Beyond is in big trouble after its stock hit a 10-year low. Experts say the company has to find a way to increase profits in the face of competition from online retailers like Amazon and price-slashing giants like Walmart and Home Depot. If it can, its stock will be downgraded to junk by investment companies. This will make it much harder for the company to borrow money and stay in business. Bed Bath & Beyond's existing debt was $1.5 billion at the end of the last quarter. Now we have Enrie Amezcua for the latest news on health.
Thank you. It's no surprise that we waste food. According to a new study, Americans waste nearly a pound of food each day. And if you're on a healthier diet, you may be adding to that pile. Researchers also found that Americans who have a higher quality diet of fruits and vegetables are wasting at least 20% more 20% more food than dairy and meat combined. Researchers are saying consumers need to understand the difference between produce that's just bruised and produce that's just too rotten. They also suggest educating the public on the proper way to store fruits and vegetables so they last longer. 18 more people have been sickened by the E. coli outbreak tied to chopped romaine lettuce. The contaminated greens have been traced to the Yuma, Arizona growing region. The CDC says that anyone who has bought store-bought chopped romaine lettuce anywhere in the U.S. should be careful. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says there are now 53 cases of the illness and 31 have been hospitalized. Symptoms of the E. coli infection can include diarrhea, stomach cramps, and vomiting. Symptoms are usually appear 3 to 4 days after eating contaminated food. CSUN students have a new challenge. What can it be? Let's go to Matador News reporter Jesus Mendez for more on the story.
The new generations are worried about their financial future. A recent survey done by UCLA found the quality of life in Los Angeles County got worse over the past 3 years. Two of the main factors are traffic and the high cost of living. The average cost of an apartment in Los Angeles is twice as much as the national average. CSUN students are sharing their concerns for what their future holds.
Being at home, it's still kind of, I work too, and even money goes by fast because I have stuff to pay, So I can only imagine people dorming or getting apartments here, how much more financially struggling they could be.
Although the study was conducted mainly for young people between the ages of 18 to 29, we found that it can affect anyone.
So I am worried because I have 2 kids and student loans. So I'm worried, if in case I couldn't find a good job, how am I going to pay off my student loans, and how am I going to be financially stable?
With inflation rates continuing to rise, it's getting harder to minimize expenses and save. Now back to Nicole with the latest on entertainment.
Thank you, Jesus. Saudi Arabia ends its 35-year ban on movie theaters with the screening of the Black Panther at a new signal screen AMC Cinema. The theater opened in the capital, Riyadh. Not only can Saudis now go to the movies, but men and women can also sit together in them. Men and women are customarily separated in public, but restrictions have been relaxed in the last year. Men and women were able to sit together at several concerts and events in 2017. Saudi Arabia's Ministry of Culture says some 350 cinemas are planned across the kingdom by 2030. All movies will be subject to censorship to ensure they comply with Saudi values and principles and do not contradict Sharia or Islamic law. The government thinks the economy will benefit greatly from the theaters. Netflix is ready to move from the small screen to the big screen. The company wants to own movie theaters in Los Angeles and New York to show film and documentaries. Buying theaters gives Netflix the chance to compete with other filmmakers for industry awards. Netflix has planned to acquire Los Angeles-based Landmark Theaters, which is co-owned by Mark Cuban. 2 people said the company backed off from the plan. Owning cinemas would make Netflix one of the strongest companies in the entertainment industry. After 2 years, it has been announced that there will be no criminal charges in Prince's death. The Carver County attorney said the Purple Rain singer died from an accidental overdose of counterfeit pills. A lack of insufficient evidence of how Prince obtained those drugs led them to make the decision. None of the medications found in his home were actually prescribed to him. Coachella Weekend 2 is delaying the opening of its opening campsite due to high winds. The Empire Polo Grounds are normally open to cars and tents Thursday, the day before the festival. The National Weather Service issued a high wind warning for the area until 2 in the morning Friday. Coachella will open the grounds to the festival goers at 3 in the morning Friday. Now let's go back to Enrie for the latest on sports news.
Thank you. Dodgers have been struggling this season, but are having some luck this week. Now at a 4-game winning streak. Last night the Dodgers swept the San Diego Padres, beating them 13-4. Third baseman Mac Muncy hit his first home run for the Dodgers, sending the ball deep into the opposite field in the Dodgers' 5-run third inning.
Driven to deep left field. Spangenberg going back at the wall. It's gone.
Muncy was called up earlier this week from a AAA Oklahoma City. He is the first Dodgers player to wear number 13 and is proving that it is not always an unlucky number. With this victory, the Dodgers now hold the most wins against a divisional opponent since 2015, winning 41-19 games against the Padres since then. Next time these teams compete will be May 4th through the 6th in Monterrey, Mexico. Tomorrow, the Dodgers start a 6-game homestand against the Washington Nationals. It's here. The FIFA World Cup Tour is in Los Angeles. Coca-Cola is giving people an opportunity to see the original trophy up close and have their picture taken with it at the LA Live today until 9 o'clock tonight. It reopens tomorrow from 9 to 5. It will then continue its world tour until its stop in Ulaanbaatar, Magnolia. And the Los Angeles Football Club has officially opened its new $350 million arena, the Bank of California Stadium. This privately funded facility replaces the Los Angeles Memorial Sports Arena and will host its opening match between the LA Football Club and the Seattle Sounders on April 29th. Now let's go back to Leslie on the latest for the weather.
Put your sweaters on today. It's going to be a little cloudy in Northridge. Today will be mostly chilly with 60 degrees temperatures, but starting tomorrow, it's going to be sunny with 80 degrees temperatures until Monday. Tuesday to Saturday, the weather will drop in the 70 degrees range.
A dog is helping kids overcome their fear of the dentist.
Hello, boys and girls. How you doing today? Let's sit. Good, stay. My name is Dr. Riley, and I'm a dentist. Does anybody know what a dentist does?
Cleans your teeth.
That's exactly right.
3-year-old Bennett, who belongs to the dentist, Dr. Riley, visits schools across the state. Bennett is a patient dog who allows the dentist to brush his teeth, inspiring kids to let go of their fears. Their faces light up when they see Bennett get his teeth cleaned. Thank you for watching Matador News. I'm Sandy Chavez.
I'm Leslie Estrada.
I'm Nicole Martinez.
And I'm Enrie Amezcua.